bite victims.
Moving on to the This Day newspaper, Okwebolo, Ododo, Umahi, Oyetola rally against Adeleke. PFIPC. ADC dismisses ICPC report as predictable, says FG more interested in damage control than
I
investigation.
had to look at it by myself. I say APC, I be ADC. Okay, yes. Because okay, I said that me and this PFIPCP. Mm-mm.
We even discussed it on Friday.
I
Too.
know, I saw you
I don't even
people.
remember what happened because different things are happening. Okay, yeah, I remember two more fake agencies.
No, but here's the thing. It would be disingenuous if you tell yourself, oh, there's only one phantom agency in Nigeria. When you have seen one, you will see
No, they
others.
said actually the two others
Mm-hmm.
were established and be founded by the same Adeyemi Adeniyi.
My point still stands that when you see something, you see one of something, just know that there's others
Yes.
happening. So yeah, that is it. So in the Daily Trust, we have Kogi bus attack, 4 kidnapped victims rescued. Also on the Daily Trust, we have bandits abduct 90-year-old village head in Niger State. 90-year-olds.
Exactly. Anyway, moving on to the Vanguard. Tears, anger in Benue as 16 Otupo attack victims.
Hmm.
6 days to Osun election. 18 killed as fears of more violence mounts.
I am honestly hoping that the whatever is going on with the Australian election, the tension in the air doesn't repeat itself during the 2027 elections. But in the Premium Times, community leader recounts Kwara abductees ordeal during 6 months in captivity, seeks support for orphaned children. Still on the Premium Times newspaper, we have INEC extends deadline for submission of nominations for state elections to 11 August. That is tomorrow.
Mhm. From the nation, Accord chieftain Ashim warns federal government against interference. Natasha's 16-year-old daughter built a Crips orphanage in Kogi community.
If there's anything any parent wants, is that you see the children that you have given birth to replicating the good works that you do, or even doing it greater and better. That's the prayer and desire for any parent. In the cable newspaper, we have police arrest 5 Pakistanis in Benue over suspicious activities, recover 35 mobile phones. What day was it that we talked about foreigners? If it was foreigners coming to Nigeria that was perpetrating a crime.
I think Wednesday.
Yeah, I think one said. In the Daily Post, we have military airstrikes wipe out 9 terrorists.
You skipped the second one from the cable.
Oh, many feared trapped, beg your pardon. 16 rescued as residential building collapses in Kano State. We've been seeing quite a few headlines about a building collapsing here and there. And this is where we plead with constructors, construction workers to make sure that the constructions, the buildings that the buildings are up to standard.
Yes, they shouldn't use subpar materials.
Absolutely, that is the prayer, and like
You're kidding people.
yeah.
Anyway, from the Daily Post, military airstrikes wipe out 9 terrorists in Borno. Lagos task force arrests 3 over alleged attempt to steal VIO vehicles brain box.
Okay, in the Tribune newspaper, we have NDLEA Italy-based businessman excretes 98 cocaine wraps at Enugu Airport.
98.
That is wild. You know, these people that used to carry drug, are they not afraid that those drugs will explode in their stomach? Because that's that's all that's in my head. But okay.
Desperation, maybe.
Still on the Tribune newspaper, vandal dies under collapsed 330 kV transmission tower in Delta.
Finally, from the pen pushing this morning, lack of adequate electricity supply contributes to increase in birth rates in Nigeria, says Fayoshi. Did I really read that?
Eh, and I'm like, huh? Wait, what? Like, I would have thought is that you say that say that's what is causing people to not give birth. But you say that's what is
Decrease. Anyway, veteran journalist's son-in-law kidnapped in Ogun State. That's it from the National Dailies this morning. You can do well to buy a copy, or you stick with us as we tackle the headlines this morning. We're live on YouTube at WFM 917, or you can listen to us on the go via our website at www.wfm917.com. You can send a text or WhatsApp message or even a voice note to 07031 756 537 or 08155 917 917. The phone lines will be open shortly. Let me just read that first.
Okay. We are going to just slide right into the dailies this morning while we await our analyst to join us. Hopefully he joins us soon, but we're going to start, like Nima said, we are live on YouTube at WFM 917.
And you can listen to us on the go via our website. Anyway, let's start with the Nigerian Labour Congress with and their negotiations with the federal government for a new national minimum wage. They are insisting that the current 70,000 naira wage is no longer adequate. So, for me,
Go ahead. I'm just
you say you're not my sweetheart. So, mm, anyway, my first question to you this morning.
No, before we go to the first question, you have to tell people what it's about. So, in the Guardian newspaper, the NLC is seeking 500,000 naira minimum wage as groups back pay review. Okay, and what group is this? The Nigerian Labour Congress has said it would soon begin negotiations with the federal government for a new national minimum wage, insisting that the current 70,000 naira wage is no longer adequate. This comes as the Network of Abuja left groups has also called on Nigerians to rally behind the organized labor's demand for a new minimum wage for at least 500,000 naira, warning that failure by the federal government to reach an agreement could deepen hardship across the country. Speaking at the Rights of Workers Summit in Birnin Kebbi State over the weekend, NLC President Joe Ajaero said workers should prepare for fresh negotiations. He was also represented by the union's deputy president Audu Amba, arguing that the current minimum wage could no longer meet workers' basic needs amid the rising inflation and the increasing cost of living. Anything less than 500,000 naira cannot cater for workers. The minimum wage is due for review, and we will soon begin negotiations with the government. Think what's the reason for this increase in price? Food prices.
Yes.
Food prices,
house rent, transport.
Food prices, transport fares, rent, and inflation as factors making the current wage inadequate. He also urged employers to comply with labor laws by ensuring fair remuneration and better welfare for workers. The governor of Kebbi State, Governor Nasir Idris, has also pledged support for this demand, adding that we must work together to improve the welfare of workers. That's basically like an overview of what he has been saying.
Anyway, so it begs the question that is 70,000 naira a lot or little? Because when the minimum wage was increased to 70,000 naira, and people were like, okay, makes sense, as opposed to the former, was it 31 or 30,000 naira? 70,000 naira was about 100% increase. But now we think about purchasing power. What can that 70,000 naira buy a worker today compared with when the wage was introduced?
We have done analysis on this before where we said if your wage is 70,000 naira, you're a single person. We can do an analysis for a single person, and we can do an analysis for a family man. For instance, a single person goes to the market, for instance, at the end of the month, he gets the salary, he's buying a crate of eggs maybe for 6,000 naira, depending on where you're buying it from. He's buying maybe a half, he wouldn't buy half carton of chicken, but let's just say he buys half carton of chicken for about 22,000 naira. That's 27 naira altogether. Then maybe he'll buy 2 loaves of bread because he wants to stock his house as a single man. Um, 2 loaves of bread, maybe let's say 3,000 naira, 4,000 naira, and then that's what
22,000.
22 plus 4,000 is
You said 22 for chicken plus 6
that's
for 28
28,000
plus
naira.
4 for bread, 32.
Ooh, but that so we're already inching toward
Half.
half of the salary. We've not added transportation to the money because typically transportation costs about half of your salary.
My friend was calculating her salary from Ikeja
Mhm,
to Arepo, and someone would drop her at Secretariat
mhm,
every month.
mhm.
She said she spent 70,000 naira
On transport,
on
and
transport.
that's a distance that is not far.
It's not far.
Because Arepo to Bega is less than, it's about 10, let's say 10, 15 minutes, right? So let's say you the last time I got on the bus from here to Bega was like 500 naira. You now get to Bega to wherever it is that you're going. If I'm going to use the example of my house, I'll say maybe 500 naira. So that's 1,000 naira. To 1,000 naira. To and fro, that's 2,000 naira per
Yes.
day. And then times 5, that's 10,000
10,000.
naira. Times 4 days, times 4 weeks,
That's 40,000.
40,000 naira. That's I'm just using that as a standard because I would just take 2 vehicles. Actually, I didn't calculate from the gate to this office,
Yes.
right? Because that's like 200 naira. So that's about 1 to give or take per day. And that's for me is that I'm just using flat rate because from my house to this place is only going to take me is 2 vehicles I will enter. Some people will have to do this. That.
Exactly.
And the 500 naira, what am I saying? Yeah, the 500 naira for the bike is that I don't want to take keke. It will be 300 naira because if I wait for keke, I might not see because it might be full from the main bus stop. So those are the things that people factor in to say, look, this is why my salary is not sufficient. This is why my salary is not sufficient for me. I've not calculated office lunch. I've not calculated what else again. I mean, there's so much to
I was talking to my
calculate.
friend and I was like, see, as a timbo, we can't be copying people and buying lunch in the office.
No, it's not even lunch in the office. It's that if you're gonna even lunch in the office
Cook
is
from your
expert
house.
cook from your house, but cooking from your house, we just calculated how much
You have to even
chicken.
wake up. It's not only chicken. Waking
You
up
want to
cook.
eat lunch that has chicken in it. No, waking up to cook. If you know that you can't buy lunch, you're gonna have to wake up to cook. Not to wake up to you would have woken, you'd have made food the previous day, so you just heat it up maybe the next
You know, I
day.
always come to the office without eating because to cook, I don't like heating food up. So to wake up that day, nah. My mother is always like, "That's my headache."
No, so the thing is, if you decide that you want to take food to work, you don't have to wake up that morning to make food. It can be from the previous day that you would make your office lunch or whatever. And that's why meal prep is very, very important. For instance, if I don't meal prep, I'm going to eat rubbish that week. And when people think about meal prep, they see it from the perspective of, oh, you want to eat healthy, but it affects everything, right? For example, when I was a young girl, my mom would always make on Sunday. Sundays are always the long day, being that my parents are pastors. Then my mom will make sure that she had made the rice, Sunday rice from the previous day, or we wake up extra early the next day to boil rice. But that stew would have been made so that when we go, there's lunch for us to eat after church because we're going to wait for my dad counseling and all of that. Same thing should apply. And I was saying this to my sister-in-law the other day because even me right now, I meal prep. This has nothing to do with healthy eating. We cook in bulk because I'm not going to cook every day. And maybe I have the luxury of we have lights, but it has always been a thing for me. We cook in bulk because by the time you think about having to wake up every day to cook, the end is not justifying the means. You understand? So
Yes,
you
it even
you
costs more.
exactly. So you do that beforehand if you want to take office lunch, but then you also have children that have to take school lunch as well. So all these things, by the time they all add up, we'll be talking about a single person. For a married person, that's another ball game entirely because school one be motto for you, your wife, and the children, depending on the locations of your offices and the location of your children's schools. Then you're talking about school lunch, uniforms, books, what else again? The
You buy
kids,
clothes for
you buy
them.
clothes for them.
You involve them in extracurricular activities. You can't say they
Some
surely
people
read book.
don't. So, like, I can tell you for free that in schools these days, back in the days, extracurricular activities for me were free. These days, you pay for them in school.
Even though,
So, I'm saying that some parents decide not
oh
to
wow,
because they cannot afford it.
well, well,
Even after school lesson, which is an add-on for the parent because the child gets to stay back in school for longer so they can meet up the time of their own closing to go and pick up the kids from school. They cannot afford it.
I mean, I saw summer coaching. We're in August.
Yeah.
Was it 145,000 and then
Yes.
ice cream?
Yes, because also the school there's running costs.
Ah,
Everything is expensive. So there's running costs. So when the Labour Party is coming to say, look, we're asking for an increase, I understand it, but at the same time, you have to ask yourself: is the Nigerian economy prepared for this?
because another question comes up again.
Yes.
Shouldn't wage policy go alongside measures to control the cost of living? Because I thought about it. I actually think about it that you see, minimum wage was increased to 70,000, right?
Mhm.
Coppers fees were increased to 77,000.
Mhm.
As soon as, let me use my brother as example because he has gone for his service. Do you know how many people tell him, compared to those days when coppers take 20K, they are paying you 77K now? I think you should be able to buy a bag of rice for your
No,
mommy. Why should
because
your mommy this? Why should your mommy that?
a standard argument. Mine was 19,008. Before I went for service, I think it was like 7,000 or something like that. The economy back then and the economy now, there's a vast difference.
Exactly.
There's a vast that 77K cannot even buy you a bag of rice. Right. So when people say those things, I feel like they are myopic in their thinking, and it's unfortunate because all they're saying is increase in money. They're not
Yes.
juxtaposing it with. Am I speaking so much big English today? They're not juxtaposing it with what is going on in the economy, like what you said now.
Yes.
What the indices of the economy? Oh, how much? There's a question that Emmanuel would always ask. He would say, 3 years ago, is your standard of living better? As at 3 years ago, people were still buying eggs at 1,000 naira for a crate. As at 3 years ago, you could buy a bag of chicken for 15,000 naira, a carton of chicken for 15,000 naira. That money cannot even buy half carton of chicken right now. So when you say that if a carton of chicken now is 44,000 naira, the Orobo is 44. I think the Nigerian chicken is about 41 because Orobo is foreign Nigerian chicken. So it's just like a few thousands of naira difference. So if you're earning more now, are you really earning more now? This 500K, are you really earning more? Because you have to factor in so many things. And like you already said, the cost of living is astronomically high that people cannot actually afford to live anymore. Last week we were talking about how some people have gone back to their parents' houses. Some have gone back to the villages because they cannot afford
Can't afford
life
it anymore.
right now. Fuel has gone back to 1,260 after all the 3 working days that you gave them to reduce it to go back to 800, at least 800, at least 700.
I remember when I
We're
was
still
in
dragging
secondary school, my father
1,001.
was buying petrol 200 naira per
Yeah,
litre.
pretty much. Yeah. Fuel was 187 before this government came into power.
I remember 200 naira
187.
because
That's
then,
a round figure because when it became, but also this is like Ogun State. In Lagos, it was 187 on the dot. At least the last time I bought fuel before this government got into power was 187. When it got into power, it increased to 499, then 599, then 699, and then it just started going up and up and up. So that's why we ask people, ask yourself, the life you are living now that you think mon jaye, mon live life, is it commensurate to the life you were living
at
before?
all.
At least you could you afford certain things
Monjai all about
back
tele.
then? Even the elites are complaining because initially it seemed like it was lower class. We don't really have a middle class anymore. Lower class that were complaining, but now even it's touching everybody now. So while this is a good initiative to say, look, people can barely survive. Can this economy pay 500,000 naira for a
Hmm.
minimum wage? That's number one. Number two is if you're saying minimum wage, you have to also factor in private institutions. Can
Yes,
private institutions
that was
pay
what was coming to.
500 naira?
Won't they have to let go of
People,
retrenchment?
yeah, but
I want to speak English like you.
yeah, the return. If you're saying, okay, we have 300 people in the office, we're going to reduce them to 150. The question is because you want to increase salaries, right?
Salaries.
The reduction you're making, can one person carry the responsibilities of three people? Because
Mm.
that retrenchment now, you're asking somebody to do three people's job
Yes.
on the salary of one person.
Yes.
So it affects a lot. Again, I'm not saying that this is a bad initiative. I'm saying that we need to, and that's why I keep on saying we need to think these things through. Is it a good initiative? Yes. Are people crumbling under the weight of inflation, economic meltdown? And this economic meltdown is not just it's not just for Nigeria. The world is going through a lot right now. It looks like, why, yeah, economic meltdown. However, other countries have been able to shock absorb
Mhm.
for their people. Our government, on the other hand, what have they been doing? I was with one of my aburos yesterday who came into the country with his family, and he said, he said he went to go and buy fuel. So in his mind, he was buying. He thought he was still from where he is, and then he asked them to sell him 10,000 naira, and the car he took there was a big car, and he said the fuel attendant looked at him and was like, "She, but you are okay because this 10,000 naira inside this car goes nowhere." So he was still there, turned on the car, was like, "Ah, for you, lo," until he had to be like, "Oh, I'm not in my country. I'm here. This. And he said, you mean people have been buying for like 1,260? He said, these who are going through an economic meltdown, but it's not this bad for them because there are indices that they put in
Yes.
place for them. He even then says, the problem is that we're not angry enough and we're not uh, I don't want to use the word revolting. If somebody comes to you now, Nima, and says you're a stupid person, you will react immediately. We are not reactionary, but we react like after a couple of days or a couple of weeks.
Yes.
That's what we've seen. He said
We take time to
he said
process
they
things.
added 15 cents to their transport fare. And he said they added the 15 cents and people went to go and protest to say, Azal, they shut down businesses for 15 cents. That's if we're going to use that to judge how Nigeria is before 15 kobo, not 15,000 naira, 15 kobo.
My
Right.
aunt came to Nigeria and she was telling my mom, she said my mom should help her buy many things. And I was getting angry. Me, I don't know, I'm an angry bird. It was not my mom who told me to calm down. So this driver was bringing some things for her from Abeokuta.
Mm-hmm.
She told me to pay the driver. She would pay me back. And I called the driver. The man was like 5,000 naira. I didn't know what he was sending. I was like, that day I'm pay our money. I mean, move first son. He said I should pay 3,000. And she came. Nima, why can't you pay 1,500? 3,000 is too much. I said, driver even said 5,000. She was like, no, just remark. I said, see, go back to where you're coming from. You cannot come to, you don't know what is happening in
A
Nigeria.
lot of them are still looking at Nigeria with the eye of when they left,
Yes.
not what is
And
going
she's
on
looking
now.
at it like their own government there have serious rules in place.
Structures,
See,
systems.
when the Redeemed Church of God, anyhow,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
When they were doing their convention,
Yeah.
will you believe that from Bega to Arepo was 1,000 naira
As opposed to 500
as
naira.
opposed to 500 naira?
You know, we say all the time that we take advantage of our Nigerians take advantage of each other.
Yes.
And we say it every time here, please don't. Taking advantage of each other. We're all going through this thing by ourselves. We're all inside it together. So why would you Anyway, this is the Women Radio 91.7 FM, the voice of women, Nigeria's first and only radio station for women and their families. Nima is here. I'm here as well. And we're live on YouTube at WFM 917. You can listen to also on the go via our website, www.wfm917.com. This is the Daily News Review on Women Radio. We've been talking about the NLC's report saying they're seeking 500,000 naira minimum wage as group backs pay review. Would like you to call us and talk to us about it. Do you think this is a step in the right direction? Or are you saying, oh, are you happy? Are you like, this 500K, it go mean say everything go high now? Because everything in Nigeria just goes up. It doesn't come down. In Nigeria is what you would call what goes up was never come
Angle
down.
of elevation.
Yeah.
No depression.
No depression at all. So that's what we're talking about. 07000 917 or 0800 917. Those are the numbers to call. You can text us this morning on 0703 or 08155 917. Let's hear your thoughts. Are you for or are you against this new proposal for the minimum wage, 500,000 naira by the NLC? And like we said, the network of Abuja left. They are in agreement. The governor of Kebbi State, Governor Nasir Idris, is also with this. He's saying, yeah, I'm with the program. I would like for this to happen. So yes, you like for it to happen.
WFM can increase my money to like 700.
Okay.
I'm not cocoa buying food. I'm spending it.
Okay. Again, you have to look at it holistically, like we said. Call us to tell us how you feel. And on that note, we're just going to slide right into something similar, which is the report from Vanguard newspaper. Nigeria's economy recovering after painful reform, says the head of the NRC. He said the Nigerian economy, NRS, beg your pardon, Nigeria Revenue Service, because we said NLC. Yes. He said that the Nigerian economy is showing strong signs of recovery.
Why did you put so much emphasis on strong?
Because that's what he said, strong signs of recovery and accelerated growth following a series of painful reforms implemented by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. If you recall, Wike said something similar on Wednesday. Yes. On Wednesday. So hearing this is also very, very interesting. He's saying he gave an internal report that the economy had moved decisively from acute macroeconomic distress toward a more stable and increasingly resilient footing. The question is, what are the markers that they are using to make this submission? And he did give some markers. He said, for instance, the minimum wage had doubled between 2023 and 2026. What was the minimum wage? There was the minimum wage now, but we just finished talking about minimum wage. We're going to leave it. He said the government also has contributed to reducing the number of out-of-school children from 20 million to 18.3 million, according to UNICEF estimates. He also credited the Naira for crude arrangement with Dangote Refinery and other local refineries with helping Nigeria become a net exporter of petroleum products. He also said oil production rose from 1.2 to 1.3 million barrels per day in 2023 to 1.73 million barrels per day by July 2026, representing 104% of the country's OPEC quota. He also said the improved economic outlook has been reflected in the capital market, with the market capitalization of the NGX rising from 30.36 trillion naira in 2023 to 161 trillion naira in 2026. I can see that analyst has joined. Hi, Emmanuel. Good morning.
Hi, Femi. Good morning. And Nima, good morning. How are you doing?
We're doing good. Doing good. So sorry about this morning, Emmanuel. I take total responsibility. Before you joined us, we talked about, want to hear your thoughts, the NLC increasing the minimum wage, or proposing the increase of the minimum wage from 70,000 naira to 500,000 naira. Some of the things that they cited as the reason for the proposal transport, increase in transport fare,
increase in
food prices.
increase in petrol prices,
Mhm.
increase in everything, even cost of living, rent prices.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
wanted to get your thoughts on that. Go ahead, please.
So, with due respect to the NLC, I think they are just building their house in the skies when they've not even laid the foundation here on earth. That's just it. Because you look at the current minimum wage, some states are not even paying that 77,000 minimum wage. And you are waking up, you are telling me you want to go to 500,000 minimum wage. Then there are some things I see and I look at them and I laugh because they don't reflect the reality. See, before we had this increase to 77,000, I was one of those who spoke out that, see, it's not about increasing minimum wage. When you increase minimum wage, there's going to be inflation because government will find a way to get that money. The money is not going to fall from the sky. The money you are being paid, there's going to be a way to get it. And economists will tell you that most time when you are asking for minimum wage, then there's going to be inflation whereby the value of the money you are asking for is not really going to hold much water when it's being given to you. Before we ask for the minimum wage, we know what a bag of rice is. I want to put it in a context so that a layman would understand. When we add a 33K minimum with 30,000 minimum wage, you can buy a bag of rice with it. Yes or no? You can. But when it was increased to 77,000, what happened? Immediately it was increased. You can't even buy a bag of rice back then with minimum wage because a bag of rice jumped to about 90 something thousand. In some places, 108. I'm talking about 2023, 2024. You can't even buy a bag of grains, talking about maize, which was 100 plus then. But before, a bag of grain, 8,000, 18,000 can be bought from the minimum wage. So Nigerians think that when they have cash, enough money, they are paying you 500, 200,000, is you are any higher. No. The value should be in the money, but when the money does not hold value and inflation sweeps over it, it is nothing. Do you think the government would agree, sit down to pay you 500,000 minimum wage and you'll be buying a bag of rice for 50 something you are buying it now? No. It's going to go to like 200 plus to buy a bag of rice because it's going to be inflation. So it's not just about sitting down and playing to the gallery every time by those who are meant to fight for the right of workers. 500,000 minimum wage. Maybe they copied it from the AAC. Because there has been Showore party that has been saying 500,000 minimum wage. Because it is not visible. I'm going to be realistic with Nigerians. There's going to be inflation. We are still battling the inflation, and the inflation we are battling now, the government themselves will not battle it well. They have to rebase the point. You know what rebasing means? They're always shifting the goalpost. If it says that inflation month on month is at 38 something percent, the government will now rebase it and put it the same way they rebase unemployment and underemployment in Nigeria. So it is not about the 500,000 minimum wage. It's about the quality of life, the inflation rate, the value that is placed on that money. See, if Nigerian workers get 500K, for me, once you buy 500K that your car is filled up, you will buy it and your nylon bag will not be filled up. This is where we have ourselves. When the minimum wage was 19K, do you know how many things you could buy? People don't think about this. Workers would say, oh, 1,500, want to give us 500. But with that 500 comes less value for you. So when I look at the NLC, sorry, I've stopped taking the NLC or TUC serious since it's been a while. Stop taking them serious because I don't see them as a real labor union like we have in Sena Climbs. Even during the days of Adam Oshiomhole, or the guy that took over, Wahab, or what was his name back then, that took over, at least we still know they still dance some Atiliogo and Azonto with the government. Even if all was gimmicks and to show us. But where has been the labor when the plight of Nigerian workers? Some states have not implemented minimum wage. A lot is happening to their workers, and they are saying so. It's not something that is visible. I beg. Maybe let's just leave it that way. It's not something that is visible. They want to start a negotiation with the government because it is time for us to review the minimum wage. But what is a minimum wage that value to the people?
Thank you so much, Emmanuel, for that. We're just going to move to the next one, which is also, well, similar, talking about the economy. The NRS, the head of the NRS has come out to say, look, Nigeria's economy is showing strong signs of recovery and accelerated growth. Uh, and he gave quite a few markers of why the economy is better. He has given the markers of the minimum wage being doubled between 2023 and 2026, policies and incentives that attributed to reducing the number of out of school children from 20 million to 18.3 million, the Naira for crude arrangement with Dangote, uh, increasing or reducing, increasing, beg your pardon, the million barrels per day that is produced, all production from 1.2 to 1.3 million to 1.73 billion. He also cited the
NGX.
NGX, the National Exchange, Nigerian Exchange, the capital market, that the money has increased from 30.36 trillion to 161 trillion naira as well. Tax collections have doubled. There's a particular, the trade position has also doubled. Importation has doubled. Economic growth has doubled. Agriculture, everything is, from what he said, doing well. Food prices have fallen by 50% as at March 2026. Wait, which March? Because that much, that was my birthday. Things were expensive. Okay, there was Salah that time. Yeah. So he cited quite a few markers, but let's hear your contribution. What do you think? Is this a case of they've come again with their data, but is it really, really reflecting in the lives of the everyday Nigerian? Go ahead.
No, it's not about the data. I've always said that the macroeconomic indices has seen a significant improvement, but the micro, which affects you and I, is what we are still battling with. The macro has seen a significant improvement, and I've always spoken about the positive side of microeconomies that we've seen. But the truth is, the micro has not seen. Everything that SAC said is actually true when you look at the numbers. But my own worry is not about the numbers, because we can quote the numbers if it doesn't affect the life of ordinary Nigeria. I believe when macro increase, micro should also have a significant improvement. Yes, foreign reserve has increased, I think, to about 50 something billion dollars. Yes, good. Congratulations. We have our debt ratio, I think, which debt to revenue ratio, which reduced from about 60 something to about 55, which is good. But the truth is this effect still being felt by other Nigerians, by average Nigerians? So everything SAC said, you can't fault him. He came to you with the data and he spoke with the data. The macro aspect has been improving for a while. I've been speaking about the fact that macro aspect has been improving for a while. But the micro aspect has actually been the problem, because it has not translated into a better life for an average Nigerian on the streets. Well, thank God he left out a part I was expecting him to speak on. He didn't speak to the part of the number of Nigerians that fell into multidimensional poverty as a result of their administration coming on board. I was expecting him to go to that aspect and speak to the number of Nigerians that has fallen into multidimensional poverty. Maybe when we start to pull people out of that multidimensional poverty, then we can start speaking to that effect. He spoke about the increase in budget for agriculture, which is good. But it's not only increasing budget for agriculture. You should not forget that where they are putting the money. The other day we had where they are putting the money to buy SUVs for economic empowerment, and those budgets were more than the budget of the federal, of the Ministry of Justice, Ministry of Women Affairs, Ministry of Urban and Regional Planning, more than 4 or 5 ministries' budgets put together, SUVs and economic empowerment. So if the macro is increasing, if the revenue we are generating is increasing, where are we putting the money? He based our revenue generation through tax as I think 27 trillion naira as at July. Is as at June 2020, as at July 27 trillion naira. And if we're getting 27 trillion naira, why do we still borrow? If we're getting 27 trillion naira and we add the money we save from first subsidy removal to it, I think we should be running a very good government financially. But what has happened? Budget has still not been implemented. Capital project being carried out is not on Nigeria budget. So you look at it, he spoke from the Nigeria Revenue Service Boss office and his capacity, the data he has. But he also tell us the number of Nigerians in multidimensional poverty. The figure is rolling out to investors might be good, but the figure is rolling out to an ordinary Nigeria is just speaking in language he does not understand. That is the irony. So that is why macro, micro must balance together. There must be a balance. We've had a whole lot of spendings that Nigerians have complained about. If the revenue generation has increased, that means more Nigerians are being taxed. But when they tax more Nigerians, who spend this tax? Is it the Nigerians that provide security, water, light for themselves? Don't forget, power generation drives the economy. If there's no power generation, the economy doesn't thrive. But what drives our own economy is solar and inverter, and that is why we are not thriving. So he needs to also tell us the other part of it, not only the mark. Let's see. I love what he did. He spoke truth to power by speaking only on the macro, but leaving the micro part out. And the micro part also still contributes to the revenue because the micro, the market women, myself, yourself, we still get taxed. The bus driver on this driving on the road get taxed, but we don't know where those taxes are going to. I don't want to talk about those ones. All those 500, 1,000 they pay at the park before even loading. We don't know where they are going to. They get taxed. Informal tax sector, which they promise to eradicate with this new tax law. So he has spoken, but the truth is, are Nigerians feeling the impact of what is happening? If we say democracy is a government for, by, to the people, are they feeling the impact of this change? I've always given them kudos for doing well with macro aspects. People want to invest now in Nigeria. That is if you have billions. People want to invest. They want to drop. Dangote is happy with his investment. Otedola is happy. The rich men are happy. But what happened to the average and the poor Nigeria? Are they happy? So he has spoken, and then I think he's right. I won't fault him for what he has said. I only fault him for not speaking to the other part of it. But if the NRS boss is telling us the micro has improved, we know the micro has improved, but the micro has not improved. They are talking about inflation rate dropping a bit. I'm like, inflation rate at 30-something has not dropped, please. Maybe they need to take a walk to the market. Maybe they need to go to my 12 market and see things for themselves. Maybe they need to go to K2 and see things for themselves. Maybe they need to visit market and know, because I think most times is the fact that those who lead us are cut away from the reality of an average Nigeria. But let's see whether in months to come it's going to trickle down. Because I know what we celebrate now is 5%, 5,000 naira decrease from a bag of rice. Presidential spokesperson will be celebrating it and be rolling out data that bag of rice now sells for 50. When they can't even tell us the amount they met bag of rice 2023. So it is good at this point that macro is having a lot of effect. But if the macro aspect is sustained, I believe it should start trickling down to the micro, which gives a lot of effect on Nigeria. But the micro cannot work for Nigeria. In my own assessment, I'm not an economist. You can call an economist, come and explain to you. In my own layman assessment, the micro cannot work because Nigerians depend on power to survive. And based on that, we don't have power. So it is going to be hard for an average Nigerian to feel the effect of this economic reform.
Sorry to interrupt you, Emmanuel. We have a call.
Good
Good morning,
morning,
women.
Evangelist Dixon.
Good morning, Madam Nema. Good morning, Madam Emmanuel. Good morning, and well done. Nigeria problem.
Good morning. Hope you're well.
Well, I'm okay. I'm better. I appreciate. But I'm a bit down. You can hear it on my voice. What I really need to say is since you remove this move of subsidy and flattening of dollar and this Iran war, it cannot be compared 3 years ago with what is happening now. Let us be fair. We should be asking our government, the first subsidy they remove, where is it going to? Hold them accountable. The money that are going to the state governors, hold them accountable. If, as you rightly say, man, even if the 70,000 naira we using for some so many, let me know if you want it. How many states are paying that? They are joking. NS said whatever they are joking. But they increase this military, I think to lose their morale so that they can fight. It's not really easy what they are doing. Another, let's say the police under they should at least increase their minimum wage so that they encourage them. It's not easy because when we are sleeping in our house, these people are in the bush. They should, at working, all the micro or what macro you are calling, they are not impact in poor man. We are not seeing it. Although because they want some other people with depression, it's easy to destroy, we know. But the bill is not an easy. Let's say that. But the tap in Shira look for you. We ourselves, like Nema said, we need to do something. From beginning to beggar become one. And it's like that when they sell under this. And if increase it's in a house, we are paying 2.5 million for 2-bedroom flat. Let them increase, we'll be paying 4 million. That's how Nigeria are. Some of the foods that these people brought from the bush, so they're reducing the price, they allow it to go spoil and be placed into those days. Well, in tap in Shira we are the cause of our own problem. We should look inward and try to do what is it in this world. We are killing one another. Because I say we don't really love ourselves, don't love our context. We need to come down and learn to do things right. Nigeria was not like this before. Nigeria will be. I believe when we do the right thing, the terror of Nigeria will be better. And I believe all you have said, God bless, God bless. Nigeria will be beautiful. God bless Nigeria.
Thank you so much, Evangelist Dixon. Please take care of yourself. Hope you get better. Okay, Emmanuel, you were rounding off your thoughts.
So basically, I think SAC was right, and the NRS boss gave out what he has on his table. But I think there's going to be a disagreement with Nigerians about what he has given out because they are not feeling this effect, and more people, we are about to become the capital poverty of the world.
Okay, thank you so much, Emmanuel. We have some messages. Nima.
Friend says, I deal with you every day of the week. Nigeria and the people who matter don't tire me. Or we go cross the bad river soon. No comment. Mr. Prince loves you all. Lady Nima and my beautiful lady Fumi. Fumi, the song is here.
Go. Next message.
Baby, well to Mr. Emmanuel. Ajani Olusoga says, the Super Falcons have come a long way. And I'm so proud of them. Being an undisputed 10 times champion is what many African female national teams spend eternity to achieve. The World Cup is a priority now. He also says kudos to our troops for rescuing 384 citizens in 1 week. It shows improved coordination. I hope proper aftercare and reintegration for the victims follow. This momentum should be sustained. And we have a voice note from
Additional item.
Not to Osun State. Farmers are helpless. I know a particular farmer because I married from Diresi. Diresi is in after Otuaibadu in Osun State. Those papa old man say they pay since December for tractor, government tractor to cultivate their land. As I'm speaking to you, they say they just released the tractor maybe last month. And the question is, the rainy season is almost over. I'm a farmer when I was in village, so I know when to plant things. For now, you can only plant maybe the dry maize and the beans. And I'm talking of the white beans, not this yellow, the one that we normally eat in the city. And let me tell you, for that alone, the farmer are not happy with Adeleke. So most of them are not with the same page with you. And Adeleke tried to engage in this violence just to gain massive sympathy. That is why when they refuse him to come into APC, he tried every possibility, but they refuse to come to APC. And I can assure you, if care is not taken, Adeleke will not return as the governor of Osun State. Good morning from Additional Wasi in Ikorodu.
All right. Thank you so much, Additional Wasiu. In 1 minute, Emmanuel, what are your thoughts on the Osun State? We have one more message. Go ahead.
I don't like the fact that the NLC is asking for 500,000 naira. They should just go out and ask for a million naira increase. Period. Why is laughable? It's Mrs. Oboli. Inflation will skip over that salary increase because the government will come down on it in one false swoop to collect what they have given to the people. Many will lose their jobs through retrenchment and outright laying off of workers. And outright laying off of workers will be the order of the day. Now, the ripple effect of that humongous, ridiculous amount the NSC is asking for would be that every commodity in our economy will skyrocket. There's a sentence I'm not going to repeat.
Go ahead.
Rather than seek the welfare of the people and citizens by driving down the average cost of living for the common man. Yeah, I hear about combat the entire process by asking for salary increase. By the way, how many governors have complied with the directive of increment of salary to 77,000 naira? Is it all the governors who have complied? And have they been held to account for flagrantly flaunting that directive? Yet you want to heap up more dust by pushing for increment. Who go pay them and who go arrest who no pay up? The NLC should better think and come up with a better strategy aimed at workers' welfare and remuneration and stop playing to the gallery with this larger than life unrealistic payments. Lastly, any macro reforms that doesn't transform into micro reality is a no-brainer as far as I am concerned. Good morning, everyone. Thanks and God bless.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Oboli. Emmanuel, 1 minute, please. What are your thoughts with regards the Osun State?
Without apologies, I can't speak about Osun election in 1 minute because there are a lot of, without apologies, I can't speak about Osun election in 1 minute because there are a lot of factors that we need to put into proper context. Whether the dancing governor is going to dance his way into second term, it's only a matter of time. But I think the reality is just a clear divide in Osun State. Civil servants are torn towards one place. Artisans and other informal sector people are looking at another place. So it is, I think, it is going to be like finding a balance. As Adeleke done really well in Osun, well, no governor really does well in Nigeria with the bogus amount they are getting. But I think we have to create a time to dissect Osun. But it's an irony that the election will be taking place on Saturday, and well, hope Adeleke survive. And if doesn't survive, maybe the video will feature him in one of his next album.
Emmanuel, I'm going to bring you on Friday. I hope that's fine with you, so we can talk about it, because the elections are, we are, like you said, on Saturday. So if you don't mind craving your indulgence, to bring you on the Daily News Review on Friday, so we can actually dissect and proper talk about, this. Thank you so much. With that being said, Emmanuel, thank you for coming on the program. I think on Friday we'll just have a pre-election Osun State. I'll look for a topic, and then we can really delve into it. Thank you so much, Emmanuel, for coming on the program. See you on Friday.
Thank you.
This is So Women Radio 91.7 FM. 9 o'clock is the news. 95 is her lens. Don't go anywhere. Have a great day.